set a moon-sized computronic system to prioritize corporate interests. You know people usually play these games as an escape, right?
These temporary indignities of the body are nothing contrasted to the Order's future. Keep those eyes open, soldiers. Corneal thrust might be damned.
At your service. Within acceptable parameters, of course.
Don't bother conversating unless you're prepared to cite your sources.
No lectures, please.
observed that.
Say, I observed that. Don't make me pursue you!
Internal records classify you a figure of ill repute, and with a significant backlog of fines. On behalf of all aggrieved parties, the Order demands immediate restitution. That certainly remains possible, and I am no seer to determine otherwise. Very well. I shall see all records of this event are deleted. Now please move on, noting that further disruptive action will be met with harshly.
You must be curious why I asked for such a discreet rendezvous. Allow me to whet your appetite for intrigue a little further, shall I? I have adequate reason to believe the Order is conducting a mass experiment on the population of Laplace's garden. Recall what you have observed thus far. Isn't it strange how calm everyone is? The Order is in the middle of a war. A war, one might say, they are losing. The Order is not cultivating its perfect, plan-abiding society through careful ideological pruning, as the laureates would have you believe. It's simple pharmacology. Put bluntly, they're regulating the emotions of everyone in Laplace's garden through drugs in the water supply. I'm limiting my water intake and using other pharmaceuticals to combat the effects. It's not a perfect system, but it works adequately enough. Moderate your volume, please! No one here is in any immediate peril. Probably. The Order claims the subjects here supposedly consented to participate, but it was begun prior to the schism with the Protectorate, so who's to say? Regardless, if the Order has made some kind of pharmaceutical breakthrough, imagine how useful it might be to certain parties to know about it in advance. I represent a group of information traders who would pay well to get their hands on a sample of this drug. Interested? So you've heard of us. Good. That makes this easier. My primary task has been to watch the Order. But I'm confident my superiors would agree. Physical proof is of far greater value than mere rumor. No. This is about control. Everything is. All you need to do is enter water reconditioning and collect a sample of the drug. I believe they call it perspective. This passcode will give you access to the main terminal. Watch the guards patrol before making your way into the facility. If worst comes to worst, I wager Laureate Beckett also has a keycard on him, but that might be tricky to lift. Lately, he's been sitting near the fountains, performing his silly little breathing exercises. If he's not there, then he's likely in conference with the presiding bishop. Whatever you do, be discreet. I can't have any laureates asking questions about me. Understood? It's too diluted by the time it enters circulation. I need the unfiltered drug, which is only accessible to those working in water reconditioning. Outside of work, I have, let's call it an alternative inventory. You'll have to pay, of course, but I'm sure I have something that'll make your job a little easier. And I'd like to offload some of this merchandise. Sounds like a win-win. You're back. Any luck with the sample? I'm charmed my name was among the first to populate your thoughts when attempting to work this problem. I have some Protectorate contacts, and I might be willing to lean my elbow on the scales in your favor, but not until after I've acquired my sample. Nothing nefarious, if that's the needle in your conscience. We only mean to study the drug and consider all of its many applications. I know that must read as terribly vague to you, but I'm not at liberty to provide more detail than that. Well, I'm not asking you to do something an honest person would. Think of this as a business transaction, if that eases your mind. I represent a group of information traders who would pay well to get their hands on a sample of this drug. Interested? That's your prerogative, of course. The benefits of free will. Until such time as the Order or the Protectorate repossesses it. No, they were grown in the same petri dish. The commonalities remain whether either of them wishes to acknowledge it. But I digress. If you change your mind, I'll be here. Taking an extended but much-deserved smoking break. Good tranquilizer for the nerves, you know.
We're about to rendezvous with the Rift. Return is possible, but not probable. And I still have unfinished business. Just in case you'd forgotten, dear. True, but I would likely be more focused and helpful when we face the Rift if I were unencumbered by other concerns. Truly? Come now, are you serious? Well, I admit I've been rather enjoying our group's escapades. It's been a considerable time since I experienced such camaraderie. Well, I'd look forward to us saving the galaxy together, but I understand. That is, I don't really, but I wish you all well. Sincerely. Do. Take care.
Expropriation.
What a lamentable state of affairs.
You're back. Any luck with the sample? No need to wait for permission. Ask them. I was assigned to the Order as a girl, but never really found my footing there. Too unfocused, they said. A distraction to others. Then the schism happened, and everything went topsy-turvy. In all the chaos, an agent from Sub Rosa made contact. She made me an offer, and I liked how the math worked out. If I had to theorize, Sub Rosa must have seen me as their in to the Order. And through them, I saw an eventual way out. My left pinky feels a little tingly. All jesting aside, no. I learned it's best not to exceed a moderate amount of caring when it comes to the actions of others. You'll only be disappointed.
Thanks, I observed that. Don't make me pursue you!
Internal records classify you as a figure of ill repute, and with a significant backlog of fines. On behalf of all aggrieved parties, the Order demands immediate restitution. Is there anything more detestable than a chance occurrence? Very well. I suppose I could clear your fine, on this one occasion. Go, mind your path, and seek trouble no further.
Smart researchers patronize the scientician's surplus. Quality goods at algorithmically determined prices.
It is imperative that we recover the archive and resume its great purpose, solving the universal equation, so we will inevitably achieve ascendancy.
We want to snare to him!
Got company, Commander.
Yeah.
I look forward to the reclamation of the Hyperion web. Hopefully you shall facilitate that. Now, how might we be of use to one another? The purveyor of convictions? Not possible. She's too public. Sub Rosa, here? If that's true, it is especially troublesome. The Order has enough problems without dealing with those brigands. Though it chagrins me to be unable to help, you should speak with Laureate Beckett. Delicate matters such as this are more his purview than my own. If there's nothing else so pressing to discuss, I'd like to return to my work. Yes! Excellent! Take that, reductionists! Your horrid little surveillance devices shall finally be used for what their purpose should have been! Don't tell anyone about that outburst, please. Here's something to keep you quiet. I must admit I first had doubts, due to your association with a cultist. But yes, you've earned not only my trust, but the Order's as well. I hope you'll continue working with us. I've informed the presiding bishop you're coming to speak with her. She can be found in the room off the main stairwell. I'm sure I don't need to say this. But if you even think about bringing harm to Ruth, I shall know. Be on your very, very best behavior.
Your admittance to the Chamber of Conflict Evaluation and Strategic Planning may come at a later date, as determined by the Office of the Oracle Laureate.
Ah, you've made such progress moving us toward an Order Anti's Choice Alliance. Everything seems to be going according to the plan so far. But we approach a critical juncture. When you go in to speak with the presiding bishop, please raise the issue with her. I assure you this is the correct thing to do. For yourself, for us, for Arcadia. If you continue working for the Order alone, it will likely burn any possible bridge with Anti's Choice. So this is our last and only chance. But why? You've already gone to so much effort. And this is surely the correct course of action. The math says so. Most of the math. Even in the face of logic and reason? Why? Save for the Protectorate, it would be to the benefit of all. Some of my cohort may disagree, but I believe any other course of action to be a dire departure from the plan. I implore you to reconsider. Farewell. I would say good luck, but I put no stock in chance, only probability. May the plan favor us against long odds.
The Order has always proclaimed patience as a virtue, but I am pleased my waiting is finally at its endpoint. For so long, you have only existed as numerical values on a chart. A bright star in a constellation of possibilities, as it were. Now with your arrival, the Order nears the totality of its goals, provided you are willing to stay aligned with our cause. As I told you in my message, a splinter group was responsible for recruiting your fellow agent and tasking her to perpetrate that heresy. The conviction of those radicals was such that they elected to perish from exposure to Cloister's wilderness to avoid fouling their predictions and my interference. Their interpretation of the data was at odds with mine. I forbade them taking action, to no avail, obviously. I disavowed their actions then, as I do now. Faith is trust without evidence. You deserve far more than that. Now then, I gather you already know who I am, but science has shown that good manners strengthen developing relationships by 5.3%. So, allow me to introduce myself. I am Ruth Bassar, third presiding bishop of the Order of the Ascendant, supreme calculator, and, plan willing, the architect of Arcadia's prosperous future. I admit, when I sent my initial message, I did not exactly know who its recipient would be. But I trusted the plan, and lo and behold, it provided you as the solution. Your recent exploits at Greater Tranquility Station have certainly made for compelling reading material. Confronting an assassin, and thereby sparing the delegates' lives before the rift inexplicably destroyed the station? Such a commendable effort is worthy of acknowledgement. If your actions were so easily imitable, then we would not be speaking right now. Accept the credit. However, there's something of even greater import we must discuss. I have received numerous reports indicating the archive has been wrested away from the Protectorate by a single, rather determined rogue factor. Your contributions to the Order will not go unreciprocated. Though even this happy solution is not without its imperfections. I've heard the Archive's priority set has been altered by its occupiers. I suppose we shall see if that remains the case. More senseless work to be done. It is my hope that such archaic methods of communicating with the Archive will soon not be necessary. I am only lacking the resources to make my plan a reality. While the Archive is an infinitely complex machine, an equally complex apparatus has been designed which allows one to interact with it directly. Brain-to-logic assembly, as it were. Unfortunately, this apparatus exacts a rather tremendous cost on the wearer. A certain panacea is needed to survive it, but I lack the chemicals to finish its manufacture. A question whose origins prickle the mind. I would ask who informed you about our experiment in the garden, but I already have my suspicions. My panacea is derived from perspective. They share certain characteristics. But to answer your question, no. It is not intended for mass use in the same way. A plant on Praetor under Auntie's choice control has the chemicals I need for this new treatment. Infiltrate the plant and retrieve them, by whatever means necessary.
A brazen ask. But Auntie's Choice has got so much going on in that plant, it ain't likely they'll notice a few chems going missing. If helping her helps our cause, I ain't opposed.
There. You have the approval of your colleague, if that was an impediment. There should be a maintenance tunnel on the lowest level of the plant, which lets out near the sewage pool. You may be able to sneak inside from there without drawing notice. The front entrance is likely to have security, so I would avoid that route entirely. Unless you feel confident in your skills of persuasion, or not opposed to being shot at. Yes, I predicted you would. Oh, the Laureate Council simply draws a name out of a hat. Yes, there's a reason they call it the madness of crowds. In reality, I was recommended for my position by the preceding bishop. Paired with my skills as a seer, I was the natural choice when it came time for the council to vote. Thank you for that charitable assessment. My predecessor, Presiding Bishop Orlo, and I had a close working relationship. He knew I possessed the skills and temperament for the role. I counted him a friend. Orlo shared with me his doubts about the Order's partnership with the Protectorate, the compromises made. He had many such regrets at the end of his life. Likely not, but it is the responsibility of every student to surpass their mentor in understanding and sentiment. And I can reliably assert that I have done that. Call it proof of concept. Laplace's garden is more than its aesthetic. It offers a vision of a future free from the despotic rule of narrow-minded jingoists, where the fruit of the plan can finally ripen. It saddens me to see the garden so despoiled by our wartime presence. But with the loss of Spirton, necessity dictated we quarter here in the interim. By themselves, very little. Once combined with other agents, a great deal of different effects can be achieved. If all goes according to plan, I should be able to create a stupefacient of sorts that will ease the discomfort of wearing the apparatus needed to communicate with the archive. No, it is most certainly not. But if humanity only pursued the safe course, we would still be subsisting in caves rather than thriving amongst the stars. Being first inherently comes with risk, but better that I should undertake this endeavor than ask another to do so on my behalf. I am singularly positioned for the task. then you might consider revisiting your acceptance criteria for each, if they are so indistinguishable to you. May you achieve progress in accordance with the plan.
Irrational.
Welcome to the Scientician Surplus. I am the Scientician in question. Any inquiries about the stock may be directed to me. Of course you would.
It appears Horizon Point Station is still in the process of being reconstituted. The rift itself is also more unstable than ever. As a result, landing closer to the location of the Protectorate's large-scale rift anomaly modulator is not possible. In order to modify it with the rift data you processed in the archive, you will need to travel to its location on foot and seize it from Protectorate control. The energy readings from the modulator can be traced to the Sovereign's flagship, Providence, hovering on the far side of the station, hypothesizing. Given Protectorate hierarchy and the recent announcement about the Sovereign's mental refreshment, this is likely the Consul's doing. He will need to be stopped.
A would-be tyrant doing something tyrannical. Who could have seen this coming?
Fortunately, the Providence is not equipped with exterior weaponry. If you can reach the ship, you should find no obstacles to boarding it. This unit urges moving quickly. The rift is growing dangerously unstable. Using the rift modulator on board the Providence is the only way to prevent destruction of the colony. It seems Agent DeVries is also here, Commander. She sent word that she, quote, knew you wouldn't be able to stay away either and is ready to finish what she started, end quote.
Oh, good. I love when more complications are added to the pile. I can handle them with ease, Commander. Just say the word.
Once the modulator is secured, it may be used to close the rift and save Arcadia and all those in its orbit. There is minimal room for error, Commander. Good luck.